What if I told you that a hip thrust, you've probably seen these with a kettlebell. I don't have a kettlebell here, but here's a dumbbell weight. But a hip thrust like this is the golf swing, right? So that hip thrust, that motion, is actually what you're doing in the golf swing. If we looked at it this way, it would look something like that. That's as important in the golf swing as any of the other things that you're going to work on with your body, with your club, with your wrist angles. That, if that's not working properly, then everything else is just really not going to work that well. You're not going to be able to stay in your posture. You're not going to be able to do a lot of things. So let me go into how that would actually work with a golf club. You see, when I make a golf swing, what I'm really doing, let's take all the rotation out of it, and I'll just talk about different parts of the swing. In the back swing, I'm loading up like I was when I bent down and put that kettlebell or that dumbbell through my legs. So my pelvis is rotating down like this. If you think about that as your belt buckle is facing forward, if I rotate my pelvis down, my belt buckle would face down more to the ground. If I extend, that's what's called hip flexion. So I'm flexing my hip this way between my thighs, my pelvis, and my body. Those are getting closer together. So I'm kind of bringing those together. If I go into extension, that would be the part where I extend up and put that kettlebell over my head. My butt cheeks, my glutes are firing. My belt buckle is now facing more forward or up. My chest is nice and high and extended as my arms come through. That's what you're doing in the golf swing. So in the back swing, we're actually doing this part of it, and especially the first half of the downswing. So if you go to the top of the back swing and then I start my downswing, you'll notice how I'm in that hip flexion. This angle between my legs and my upper body is closer together. My belt buckle would be down toward the ground, and that allows me to get close enough to the ground where I can get lag. And then as I come through the shot, I can get shaft lean. And then as I finish, remember when we had the hips forward, everything extended up, when I go into my finish, that's the motion of the golf swing here. Look how if I was turned sideways, belt buckle up, chest high, that's exactly what's going on as I finish my swing. So it's that swing of the club that allows a golf swing to look effortless. If you don't have that hip motion in there, like a kettlebell swing, then it's not going to look effortless. You see, if I lock my hips in place and I don't do my swing of the hips, or I do them in the wrong time, maybe I extend the hips early and now it's just the start of my downswing, well then I'm going to have to throw and flip at it. It's going to mess everything up. So what I want you to do here is a couple practice swings. We're going to do the back. So first, before we go into that, let's talk about the rotation. Then we'll do practice swings to get all this together. So now if I go ahead and add rotation to that, so I'm doing my hip thrust is the golf swing. And in there, I'm going to do my back swing halfway into the downswing. This would be kind of when my left arm's parallel to the ground. This is the position in the Top Speed Golf system where we measure lag. When that's there, now I'm fully flexed as much as I'm going to get. And then when I rotate on through to the finish, I'm extended. So feeling like from flexed halfway into the downswing to extended in the finish, that's the body motion that has to happen to be able to make a good golf swing. It also pairs up with, okay, if I'm going to have my hands have a bunch of lag, if I just stop my body, I have to do everything with my hands and arms. But if I have all this lag and then I extend to the finish, it kind of slings that club through there. I really don't have to feel like I manipulate it with my hands. And if you feel handsy at all, that's what's going on. You're missing that flexion extension piece. So now that we know the golf swing is really just two pieces when it comes to the body motions. Flexing and extending, and then rotating to the right, rotating to the left. So if you went ahead and took your arms out like a helicopter, rotate this way, rotate that way, that's what the golf swing would be from the rotation standpoint. So those moves are pretty simple. What most people get wrong is this one piece. It's the pelvis piece that we talked about there. So here's what I want you to do to practice that. As you're starting your swing, go to the top of the backswing, and a couple things have to happen. Number one, this right leg can't go this way. I can't get my right leg or my right hip to go outside of my leg. I want my leg angled in, and I'm going to let this hip turn back this way. That's my right knee flexing like this to allow my hips to rotate. My left knee comes in to allow my hips to rotate. That's the top of the backswing. Here's the important piece, the flexion piece. the pelvis where I had the kettlebell between my legs. That's the half of the downswing where I want to tuck my butt out. So I want to feel like my butt sticks out toward the wall. I want to feel like my belt buckle faces down toward the ground. So that's going to look like this. Here's top of the backswing. I'm tucking my butt under. I'm tucking my belt buckle down, and I'm loading into the ground here. That would be here in the golf swing. And then from finally to the finish, I'm going to go ahead, let all my weight get to my front foot. My butt is kind of clenched there. I'm flexing my glute muscles, and my chest is nice and high. That's going to be your finish position. So again, let's talk about this in the full motion here. Knees move to get me to the top of my backswing and let my hips rotate in the backswing. Then I tuck my butt out and my belt buckle down to get into halfway into the downswing position. And then I extend up to let my belt buckle face the target, my chest nice and high to the finish. And when I put that together, look how effortless it makes the golf swing look. This is the only way to have a lot of power and not be manipulating the club with your hands and arms. There we go. So I'm letting my core and my hips, and I'll even exaggerate here a little bit. I'll let my hips move a little bit more so you can see it easier. Right, and see how my hip motion is kind of slinging the club through there. That's exactly what I want you to feel. Once you get that to happen, then the club just kind of takes off and really slings through contact. You can get a lot of speed. So here I have a 9-iron. I'm just going to focus in on my pelvis tucking and extending, and let's see what the speed gets up to. There we go, hit that one hard. Yeah, 179 with a 9-iron, that's pretty daggone good for me, but I think for me and everybody else I see that has a fluid swing, it all starts with the pelvis. Now that's where it all starts, but where do we go from here? What's the next step? Obviously we have to have lag, we have to release this club in front. The club has to be doing what it needs to be doing. We've got our body motions down. Let's go out to the club next. Well, the best video to work on next would be one that I call Knuckle Dragger. And that talks about, now that you're getting your pelvis down, what do I do with my hands and arms so that I can have a ton of lag and get in this position that we see here? And then how do I release that out in front to get a lot of speed? That's how you get shaft lean. That's how you get this massive angle of lag like you see with the top pros. That's how you get that club to just take off through impact and you feel like you're not manipulating it. You train that with the body motions we did here in this video, you're gonna have the 1-2 punch. So I'm gonna play a preview of that Knuckle Dragger video. All you need to do is go ahead and click one of the cards that pops up on your screen somewhere over here. And if you don't see those cards, don't worry. Go down to the description below and click the link there. You'll get instant access to that video. So best of luck, and I'll see you in the Knuckle Dragger video. I got an awesome video for you. This one is what I call Knuckle Dragger. This is one of the best ones, one of the big missing pieces to players that are struggling to get more lag. Now let's talk about when you lose lag, what's happening. A lot of times what's happening is as you make your downswing, if we're looking from this down the line view, what happens is my hips go toward the golf ball, they start to slide forward. My chest moves back away from this golf ball, so I'm getting farther away from the golf ball, and then all of a sudden I cast, I flip, and I don't have a lot of lag there. Well, look how far my hands are away from the ground. Also notice when I get my hands closer to the ground, so as my hands get lower, then what happens is they also go forward more. So as I want to have more lag, when you feel like your knuckles are dragging the ground, then that club is naturally going to lag back behind, and then you're going to release that out in front. When your hands are far away from the ground, well, if I had all that lag, where would I be swinging? I'd be swinging a foot over top of the golf ball. So you have to kind of flip, release that lag early to just make contact with the golf ball at all. So having those knuckles feeling like they're scraping the ground is really going to be a big key. Now another piece to this, again, when I talked about losing that posture, your hips go forward. You're going to want to feel like, as those hands scrape the ground, your knuckles drag the ground.